Many people's concept of lunging is going out into the middle of the arena with a 30-foot flat nylon cord and a lunge whip and sending them around in mindless circles for 10 minutes to the left and then mindless circles to the right till they have white foam between their hind legs and say, okay, he's warmed up, I've lunged him around. Well, you might have a horse that's physically warmed up, but mentally he might not be engaged at all. We're going to talk about how I first introduced this idea of lunging and how I get my horses to move around and help you avoid some common pitfalls that I see people have. Because oftentimes when they try to get their horse to go, the horses keep turning and facing them. Have you ever found like you're the one on the outside running around trying to get the horse to go and he just keeps moving his butt out of the way and facing up again and again? What you need to do is you need to stand directly in front of your horse and give your horse two things, direction and drive. If I'm going to send my horse off to the left, I'm going to hold my left hand out to the side with the lead rope. That's his direction. And then I'm going to fire at my propeller with my right hand, and I'm going to drive this front end away. His butt is already out there where it needs to be, but so many of our friends, they feel obligated to run to the horse's butt. That's not where the problem is. He needs to move his front end over. He needs to step that front end out to the apex of that circle. Then he's in a position to drive. So I'm pushing that eye away from me. When he steps away, I let that rope slide through my hands. This is another common mistake. People have a death grip on that rope. So they ask him to go, but then they don't give him any place to go. I let it slide through my hands and let him go all the way out to the end of that rope and let him move around on that circle. Now, if he's out where he needs to be, but he's just not moving fast enough, then I can pick up my propeller and swing it and drive it towards his hind end to get more forward impulsion. And I'm using my propeller here at the end of this lead rope. If you're more comfortable using a flag or a stick or a little whip, you could do that as well. These are just different tools to get the same idea across. We use these 12 or 14-foot lead ropes. Let them go all the way out there to the end. If you need lead rope to swing, just take a step forward and now you've got propeller again. But don't feel obligated to have to hold propeller in your hands the whole time because they need that little bit of rope to get out there and make a nice round circle. When you go to send them the other way, if you're traveling around to the left, I just reach down with my right hand, tip that horse's nose to me. When I can see that outside eye, that right eye in this case, I'll pick up my propeller, swing that rope towards that right eye and send him off in the other direction. So it doesn't have anything to do with chasing their butt around. You're going to listen to this and this is going to make sense to you, but you're going to go out and you're going to chase his butt around. I don't know what happens to people. We almost get demon possessed and start chasing that butt. So I encourage you, really think about yielding the forequarters over first. So you get that front end to step over, then they're in a position to send around in that circle. And you can send them to the left, disengage them, send them off to the right. So when we disengage them, it's a yielding of the hindquarters, and then right up there with the propeller, yielding the forequarters over and away. Now it's like a dancing studio, and this is your dancing student. You're teaching them these moves, and you can float all around the arena. You don't have to just stay in one spot. I will oftentimes step in a smaller circle as compared to the circle that my horse is making, and if my horse is traveling to the right, I'm holding him in my right hand. I can see his right eye. My right leg is stepping right towards his right shoulder in a very small circle as we step around. And that keeps me in the proper position as I move around. Here's another thing to keep in mind. If your feet are going backwards, your horse is probably training you. As you watch my feet, you're not going to see them go backwards very much. I'm stepping towards my horse, asking them to yield away from me. I enjoy getting out and sending my horse around in some circles, especially a young horse or a horse that I don't know or a horse that feels a little fresh. I get that saddle on and it allows me to send them through the full range of motion, to get out there and walk, trot, and even lope around so that I begin to check out my horse. Part of the pre-flight checklist, making sure that he's leveled out, that he's in a receptive frame of mind, that he's traveling around there pretty efficiently. And I want to remove as many variables as I can before I get on him. I don't want to just saddle him up, cut him in two with a cinch and step on him and hope for the best, because probably the worst is going to happen. Here, this young horse that I'm going to ride today, I've never seen this horse before. I've never ridden this horse before. The lady told me a little bit about the few rides she's put on her, but I'm going to send her around in some circles here and just see what she feels like. Make sure that she can pass these tests. If she's grabbing herself and she's putting 80 pounds of energy into what should only be a 40-pound job, I don't want to get on her. But if I'm moving her to the left and to the right and she's traveling pretty relaxed, then okay, maybe I can go ahead and get on her. We can see she's kind of a touchy horse. I'm just removing some variables, getting some answers to some questions so that when I get on, I have a certain amount of predictability. Now, this mare that I don't know anything about, I'm just going to check her out a little bit more because she seems a little touchy. She seems a little snorty. So I'm going to get my flag here and just see how she feels about that. Is this something she's going to want to strike out of my hands or kick out at or run off to the other side of the pen? I can tell that she's pretty aware of it and watching, but handling it pretty good. And it creates some commotion with it, makes some racket with it. If she goes to leave, I'll just stay in there making that racket. When she tries to absorb it and stop, there, I'll take all the pressure off and I'll get soft right there. I'll see how she is if I come in and rub her with this. And I don't try to rub her up at her forequarters right at first. I'll generally start back towards their hip. They tend to be a little bit more accepting back there at first, and then I'll work my way up. Flag's a great thing too if you think a horse is a little touchy about their legs. It's an extension of your arm. Now your arm is 4 feet longer. You can reach down those hind legs and reach down those front legs and keep yourself in a safer, less vulnerable position while you're checking a horse out. Again, I don't know anything about this horse, and I need to go ride her in a few minutes. So the more things I can find out about her on the ground, the better prepared I'll be. Now, horses have the cool ability to separate things out. I want to desensitize this horse to the flag and make sure she can handle it, that I can rub her all over, that I can shake the bag. But if I step in here and begin to tap her on the hindquarters, I want her to move her hindquarters out of the way. She needs to yield to it as well. And so what changed? My body language changed a little bit. Perhaps I chirp a little bit with my voice. Say, okay, now I want you to move away from it. We could take a 28-year-old Shetland pony, and I bet he's very desensitized and quote-unquote bomb-proof to things around him, but he's probably not very responsive and probably not going to go out and win a reining championship, is he? But wouldn't it be cool to have that kind of horse that is so bomb-proof and quiet, yet so responsive at the same time? And horses can separate those things out just by the subtle change in our body and our demeanor, saying, just be quiet, just relax, it's no big deal. Okay, now I need you to move away. And it's amazing how they'll do that for us.